everybody, welcome to my channel HUMBLEHUS. Another week, another project. We will be making this pretty pillow with this Tunisian flower. Now last week I made another pillow with some little buttercup flowers, and this is the set basically for it. I just thought they go along together. So since you buy the pack of 2 pillows at any craft store, there's usually 2 pillows in it, I figured let's make it a set, right? Let me tell you what you're going to need for this project. I always have on hand measuring tape, scissors, yarn needle, and stitch markers. If you don't have stitch markers, you can always use paper clips, and if you don't want to use any at all, that's up to you. The hook that I'll be using for this project is a 5mm size hook, or a size H if you will. The yarn that I am using is this Bernat Baby Velvet by Yarnspirations. It is 100% polyester. It is a medium 4 weight, and the recommended hook size is a 5mm. I'll be using 3 different colors. These are the other 2, just a white and like a pink. If you want to know, the color of this one is misty green. I don't know what obviously the other one is white. And this coral peach pink, I am not sure. I don't know where the paper is. That is how organized I am. Now the pillows, you get them, like I mentioned, at any craft store. They're already made. The one that I'm going to use is a size 18 by 18 inches. If you don't want to buy those, if you just want to stuff them, that is fine too. Now, because I want this to be a project that a beginner can also do, I am just going to keep it very simple and do single crochets all around. You will have plenty to think about when you do the Tunisian flower, so I don't want to complicate it anymore. Let's start by making a little loop. With your yarn, take your hook, insert through the middle, then pull this loose end towards the center, put your thumb over it, and then grab these 2 ends and pull in opposite directions. And there you have your slip knot. Then adjust it by pulling on one of the sides. The way you do the chains is you put your hook under the yarn, so it's yarn over, and then you pull it through that first loop. That is 1 chain. Again, yarn over, pull it through that loop. That's 2. And you will do 52 in total, or however many you need to get to the length of pillow that you are making. I now have my 52 chains. Just so you take your measuring tape and then you just put it alongside, and you can see if you've got sufficient chains. Now to this 52, I am going to add 1 more chain to give me 53, but this last one does not count. This is just simply so we can turn and have that height. So this is your first chain from your hook. So counting from your hook, this is 1, and it's hard to see with this yarn. This is 1, and here's your second one. So you will work into that second one. So insert your hook, and you will feel it. It somehow finds its way. Then yarn over, pull up a loop. Now you have 2 loops right here. Then yarn over and pull through both loops. That is your first single crochet. Now, do not get confused and go back into the same stitch. Even though it looks tempting, you want to work into this next one. Okay, so insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And you can always add your stitch marker here in that very first single crochet that you made. So you simply go through both of those loops. So this is 1, and there's your second one, so that you know where you started. Okay, and then we continue. Here's that third stitch. We insert and do our single crochet. That means on our way back, you will have 52 single crochets. You need to count along to make sure. So if you had 64 to begin with, and then you added 1 to have 65, on your way back, you need to have 64 single crochets. Here's the end of row 1, and you did your last single crochet into that first chain where we started. Now, chain 1 and turn your work. Okay, I always turn it in the same direction. This always looks a little bit confusing as to where you need to work into. So this is the stitch. This is where you chain that one extra, and then we will work into this stitch. So insert your hook and go through both loops. So there's 2 loops, even though you cannot really see it. Every stitch now has 2 loops. You go through both, and then you yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And once again, if you want to, you can add your stitch marker right here by going in through those 2 loops. That means that is your first single crochet from this row. And then you continue and you go into that next stitch. Okay, just be careful because like I said, this yarn is a little difficult. Again, continue on to the next one. So just make sure you're going into the right space. 1 and 2. That's where you work your single crochet into. All the way back. And you're simply going to repeat the same step that we did here. Once you get to the end, you chain 1, you turn your work, and then single crochet into that same stitch. And you should always have 52 stitches. And I am going to do a total of 52 rows. So this would be your second row. So 52 stitches and 52 rows. I am now done with my first square. I have 52 rows. And before we cut anything off, we are going to do a border around this because we need to reach 18 inches. I'm going to now add this white yarn. The way you do that is you form a sort of loop around your hook. And then instead of chaining one here with the old color, you will chain with the new color. So you pull it through and then you pull on the old color. So now this is the old loop basically. It's taking the spot of the old one. Now you yarn over and you chain 1. Now we're going to turn our work. We are going to go around the square. So we're going to basically make the frame for it or the border, and we're going to start with the next row just as you would with the old color and single crochet all the way to the end. And the reason why we're not cutting off the old color is because we're going to use it again. Now, you can cut it off and then just join it again. I don't like to do that. Plus, you won't be able to see it from the inside. So I'd rather just have a continuous thread of yarn rather than cutting it off. Okay, I have arrived at the end of this row and I single crochet into that last stitch. Since I'm going around the corner, I'm going to do another single crochet into that same stitch. It's going to help me round, so it's like an increase. Now we want to single crochet along this side. This side is obviously not as easy because you don't have the stitches there. Obviously you want to have 52. Since you have 52 rows, that is what you're aiming for. And then you repeat the same thing on the other side until you're back to this corner. I have arrived at my original corner right here. Now I'm going to do another single crochet into this same corner. And now into that first single crochet that we did, I'm going to do a slip stitch. So yarn over and pull it through and pull that through the loop that is on your hook as well. Now I'm going to chain 1. Now we just do another round of single crochets all the way around till you come back over here. And don't forget to do 2 single crochets in every corner on any of the stitches that you have here in the corner. And yes, of course, you're going to have more stitches now since we added those stitches in the previous row into every corner. Now that we have completed a total of 3 rows of single crochets, we can now cut off the white yarn after you do your last slip stitch where the stitch marker is. Now you can take off the stitch marker and we will continue with the pink colored one. Okay, so chain 1 and now single crochet into that first one, add your stitch marker, and then continue. We're going to do a total of 4 rounds or until your pillow measures 18 inches. Alright, now that I have my square done, and I'm sorry I'm trying to hold up the camera so you can see the whole thing. It just doesn't fit in the camera. So I did 3 rows of the white, and then I did 4 rows of the pink again, or peach or coral. So once you're done with those outer rows, you will cut off the yarn, then pull that loose end through that last loop. You ended with a slip stitch, by the way, that last stitch, and then you have to do a second one. So here's my second one. When you're done with the second one, do not cut off the yarn, okay, because we will use that one to join the 2 sides. So let's get on with the flower. Just put those to the side when you're done with those. Now for the flower, I decided to switch out the white yarn for this one that I still have left. But don't worry, I mean, just use any color that you like. Start by doing your slip knot. Just make the little loop, insert your hook through there, put your thumb on it, and then get a hold of both ends and pull in opposite directions. And pull on one side to tighten it onto the hook. Now let's chain 4. We will now join the 2 ends with a slip stitch. So if you're looking at it this way, turn it so that this is facing you, and then go through this loop right here and do a slip stitch. Yarn over, pull it through, and pull that through the loop that is on your hook. Alright, now let's chain 3. This counts as 1 double crochet. We will do 9 double crochets into this ring. The double crochet goes like this. You yarn over, then you insert your hook into that ring, then yarn over, pull up a loop, so now you have 3 loops on your hook, then yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops that were on your hook, and then yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. Okay, and there are my 2 loops right here that I'm going to put my stitch marker through, just so I know where I have my chain of 3 and where that first double crochet starts. Let me show you once again. For the double crochet, you yarn over, you insert into the ring, then you yarn over, pull up a loop. You're going to have 3 loops on your hook, then yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops. There's 2 loops left. Yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. Okay, so that is my second one. I need to have a total of 9. Now I am done with the 9 double crochets. Remember this chain of 3? You need to count 1, 2, and 3. You want to insert your hook in that third one and do your slip stitch in there. So pull through and pull that through the other loop as well. Now let's chain 1, and you want to do 1 single crochet into this same stitch. So you, like I said, I know it's hard to see, but you can feel it. It's right there. There's that entrance, and you just do 1 single crochet. Okay, now this was our first double crochet that we did. That's why I put the stitch marker. That way I know and I won't get confused. Into this stitch marker, I am going to do 2 single crochets. Insert your hook. Now you can take this stitch marker out and you can add it here to where you did that first single crochet. Now do 1 and then another one into that same stitch. Then into the next stitch, you will only do 1 single crochet. And like I said, it's so hard to see, but you somehow feel it. Okay, and into the next stitch, we will do 2 single crochets again. And we repeat. You will end with the 2 single crochets into that same stitch. Now, we will slip stitch into this single crochet that we did at the beginning, where the stitch marker is. Alright, now let's chain 1. And by the way, you can take out the stitch marker now. And you will do a single crochet into this same stitch once again. So right here. And you want to add your stitch marker through those 2 loops. Okay, now into the next stitch, we're going to do another single crochet. And then the next stitch will have 2 single crochets into that same stitch. Okay, by the end of this round, you should have 20 single crochets. Now I have gone around and I want to slip stitch into this stitch with the stitch marker. That, I'm not going to take out the stitch marker yet. Now I'm going to chain 7. Okay, so this is the first chain from my hook right here, and here's the second chain. That is where I want to insert my hook and do a single crochet. There's 1. I need a total of 6 single crochets, 1 into each chain. So this was the stitch that we worked into. That's why it was important to leave the stitch marker in, so that you can see where your next single crochet is, and that is where you want to slip stitch into. Okay, then go into the next stitch and do a single crochet, and now you begin chaining 7 again. Once again, you go into that, not the first chain, but the second chain from your hook. Go into each chain for a total of 6 single crochets. And once again, slip stitch into the next stitch, that next single crochet, slip stitch into that one, and then single crochet into the next stitch. And then repeat. You need to repeat this 10 times so that we have a total of 10 petals. Okay, now that I have gone around and I have my 10 petals, you end with that slip stitch. Now you're going to skip this next stitch right here, and you're going to slip stitch again into this first, basically point into this first single crochet that we have over here. Just do a slip stitch like that. Now turn your work, and then this slip stitch we're going to skip, as well as this one right here. And now into the next 6 loops we are going to do single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Only into the back loop of these. I hope you can see those back loops. So each one has 2 loops, and that one is the back loop. So here's 3, and again here the back loop. Okay, this would be the front loop, that is the back loop. Now into this top point right here, we're going to do 1 single crochet, chain 1, 1 single crochet. So 1 single crochet, chain 1, 1 single crochet. You can just kind of add it in this space so that you know where that chain 1 is. Okay, and then this was the side with the chains. So you want to do 6 single crochets, 1 into each chain. Now you're going to skip this, as well as this single crochet. You're going to go all the way around until you have those 10 petals. It's kind of hard to see, so you end it here, and then I'm just going to slip stitch in here. I'm going to take my new color and draw it a loop through this loop right here, and pull on that old color. Now I am going to turn my work. Alright, and eventually we would just thread this in, but you don't need to worry about it right now. Okay, we're going to skip our first single crochet, and we're going to go back into the loops, so like into the back loops, into the 6 stitches that we have here. Okay, so into 6 of these back loops. Okay, and then remember we did that chain here at the very top. So you will go into that chain, and you're going to single crochet 1, chain 2, and then single crochet again. Okay, and now, so remember when we were doing this, the other color, we would just single crochet in the back. We are going to do the same, but this time we have to be careful because we are going to go into the back loops only, as well as we did, like we did on this side. Okay, so find that back loop and single crochet into the next 6 back loops. Now skip the next 2 single crochets, and we will repeat the same thing. We're going to do that all the way around. That was round number 6. Now we will slip stitch, so we skip these 2 and we will slip stitch into that first single crochet. Now we turn our work, and we need to repeat this round, so we still have round 7, 8, and 9 to go. And I understand that it is sometimes hard to see with this yarn, so this is so forgiving. If you do happen to go into an incorrect stitch, it is not the end of the world. If you think you went into the correct stitch, just simply undo a couple of stitches, go back, and then try again. I mean, it will tell you if you didn't go into the correct stitch, because if you don't see 6 stitches that you can do your single crochets into, that means something went wrong. Once I am done with row number 9, I am simply going to finish off with a slip stitch. And now I'm going to cut off the yarn, but I'm going to leave a longer piece of yarn so that I can join this onto the pillow. Basically sew it on. Now pull this yarn through that last loop, tighten that. There you go. Now I'm going to take out all of my stitch markers, And we will now thread in the loose ends. So you have to decide which side of the flower do you want to be on the front and which one you want to be on the pillow. I feel like this is the one I'm going to go with. This is how you thread all your yarns in. Grab your yarn needle, and then you're going to go through a couple of stitches, whichever ones are close by that have the same color, and then you go back and you can do a little knot at the end and then cut off the rest. Alright, so get one of your pieces, one of your squares, then make sure that the side that has any threads, that one's going to look to the inside. And then we are going to add our flower right here in the middle. So position it the way you want it to. Grab your yarn needle and we're going to attach this. So since I am doing it with the green colored one or aqua colored one, I'm going to go around this part. That's where I'm going to attach it. First, I'm going to get my yarn over here. So I'm going to bring it to this side so that I can see where I'm going to start and make sure it goes into the right spot. So I went through the flower and through the square. So you just sort of feel it. Alright, so that's how I'm going to continue to attach this. Now it's attached right here. So like I said, just go all the way around till you come back here. There it is. Now it is attached and I have made a knot on the back. And you can obviously attach it in more points than just those, but I left it this way because I think my daughter will like playing with this. Now we're going to join the two squares and just make sure that your stitches are going the same way on both sides. Face them towards each other, and we are going to join 3 sides before we put in the pillow form. Remember I told you not to cut off the yarn on that last one? Chain 1. Now you're going to try to join them as best as you can. Just make sure that you have the correct corners. And then all you're going to do is you're going to go through the first stitch right here, and then on the opposite side, the corresponding stitch, and do a single crochet. And then you continue on to the next stitches that are opposite each other and do a single crochet. That is how you're going to join all the sides. Also, don't forget, when you get to the corner, you have to do 2 single crochets into one of the stitches in every corner. Okay, now I did the 3 sides. Let's insert our pillow form. Now obviously it's going to be harder to join the stitches now because of the pillow in here. Basically, as you're now finishing off this last side, you just have to hold it together and kind of push the pillow down while you're doing that. Now finish off your pillow with a slip stitch. Pull the yarn through this loop, tighten it, take your yarn needle and thread this into the pillow and cut off your yarn. You are done. Now isn't this a great piece for Easter or all your spring decorations? Well, I hope this was a fun project for you. This is such a pretty flower, right? I mean, I really like it. I've always liked this Tunisian flower. It's like one of my favorite ones to crochet. I try to make it as easy as possible for everyone to be able to follow along. I hope I accomplished that. I would love to see your projects, so if you want to follow me on Instagram at HUMBLEHUS, tag me with your work. Also, please subscribe to my channel. That way you get the notification of whenever I bring out a new project, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you for being here. This is my channel, HUMBLEHUS. Bye!